What's up, Otakus? It's your tour guide here. Yeah, it's I'm filming this video, but it's gonna go out on Batman Day. So in I guess in honor of that special day, Batman Day, uh we're gonna go over my Batman collection. And it's not a big collection. Um I mean it takes up a big chunk of my collection, let's put it that way. But my collection is still modest by most standards. I mean, we're talking. I have a. If you were to just put all my comics together, it'd probably fill just two long boxes. Not even two long boxes. We're talking about maybe 400 comics, 300 to 400 comics that right around that range. Um, and so and I know there are collectors out there who really collect Batman and have like every issue of Batman or like Detective Comics, and that's a big lift. Well, first of all, you can't have every issue of Batman. I mean, you can, but you that's like would be worth so much money because of the early Detective Comics that you're talking about, the early Batman. Those are really sort of like grail, like unattainable grail type books. Um, but like even owning a lot of the Silver Age, the Bronze Age Batman, that. I mean, we're talking about. I believe both Batman and Detective Comics have reached 1,000 in terms of the serial run. They've reached 1,000. So talking about 2,000 comics dating back, nearly 80 years. So that's if you have a huge Batman collection where you have every issue, kudos to you. But I think for the rest of us, we try to pick up whatever Batman books we can if we can fill like a certain run of an era or a certain run of a writer and illustrator, then you're doing good. And just gonna go over my love affair with Batman when it started. Um, First off, my love affair began back in middle school. Now, I was always a fan of Batman as a kid because of Adam West and Burt Ward, the television series. Uh, that was just, it was way before my time, but on reruns, you'd watch it. It was a fun show. I think, kids had fun with it too, as well as adults. And that was Batman for the longest time. So it didn't really dominate, you know, uh, my interest. I was more into Superman. Like I said, I was 6 when I watched Superman in the movie theaters with Christopher Reeve. That was my jam. Still my jam. And there wasn't really sort of this Batman versus Superman um, kind of narrative that we have now. I mean, they were just kind of friends. They were friends, super friends, the Legion of Doom, the Justice League, the Hall of Justice, all of those things growing up. Batman was just the sidekick of Superman. That's kind of where my interest in level of, you know, I guess fandom was just kind of like Superman's first, and then yeah, Batman's cool. But Batman wasn't like anything any better than Wonder Woman or Green Lantern. I actually like Green Lantern more than I did Batman. Aquaman, all those like DC heroes were just kind of in that same realm of popularity for me. But then again, come middle school, uh, I read that book right there. I actually read this one first. Dark Knight Returns, issue number 2. And that cover is what got me. I was in a comic book shop. I was kind of like digging for comics, and I saw that cover, and I said, "Wow, that's Batman." And it's just such a like a just a captivating cover by Frank Miller. When I read that book, it was first of all, I shouldn't have been reading it. Uh, it's really a book meant for mature readers, right? I was probably 11 or 12 when I read that. But man, was that book just, I was just like, man, they make books like this. And so that got me to get the graphic or the trade paperback. I read that thing like, you know, cover to cover about a billion times growing as a kid. And then that got me down a whole Batman rabbit hole. And I read Batman Year One right afterwards. So you get the sort of Year One, and then Dark Knight Returns is sort of the end of Batman's career. And then I just started trying to pick up Batman books. And one thing that really got us into Batman, and this was, I think, the marketing on DC's part ahead of the movie. But I distinctly remember reading this book. I had mentioned it several times on my channel that this is the book that really kind of catapulted my love affair. I mean, the Frank Miller stuff was great, but it was this book here. After I read the Frank Miller stuff, I was just kind of like, I think, it was around Batman 1988. You had like, you had the Brad Ballin, Killing Joke that came out. You had the Batman Year 3 come out around that time as well. You had the Death in the Family come out around that. So this was like a prime period of just very dark and just dark, very dark and noir, gritty detective type stories that were coming out. And as a young comic book fan, I don't think there was nothing remotely, there wasn't anything close to what Batman stories were. X-Men was great, but it just didn't match that intensity level that Batman did. I think that's what, Batman kind of the sort of the dark nature, the violent nature of these Batman stories allowed for comics to really kind of broaden the graphic novel became a broader adult targeted market. And I kind of always was that, but it definitely took on a more what you pretty much have in the modern day is kind of started right around again when these Batman books are coming out. So yeah, this basically starts at the beginning. It takes you through Detective Comics, 27 all the way through like Batman 1 and all like the first appearance of Joker and all these great just sort of collections, and they're in this fairly thick trade paperback book. And yeah, I remember just enjoying reading this book. So what we're gonna do at the very end of this video, this is just a really special Batman edition. What we're gonna do at the end of this video is we're gonna kind of read through the first appearance of Batman and get a taste of everything. So again, I read that Batman, the greatest Batman stories ever told. I read all these books, read Death in the Family. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, comic fan, but I believe Batman the movie then came out, and then you had The Killing Joke come out. But it was really close to that timing, so it might have come out like as the movie came out. But I just remember reading Killing Joke after the movie had come out. But that movie was just like you're just getting into Batman, and then boom comes the Tim Burton movie, and it was just 88, 89, probably even in the 90s was just all about Batman books. And as a kid, well, as a young adult, definitely captivated me. So now we're going to go over books. I am not going to cover that many Jim Lee books. I could just pretty much every Jim Lee Hush book is. I have the entire run except minus a few variant covers, but we're not going to cover all that. Well, what I'm going to focus on is just kind of like, again, this is not every Batman book in my collection. It's just kind of what I could dig up. And it's a pretty, just kind of walks us through the different ages of Batman. And it's really just a few Bronze Age books, mostly copper and modern. So again, not a big collection, but I wanted to take you through this. And so these aren't actually Batman. This isn't a Batman book, but it's a great Batman cover by Jim Lee. And you can see the evolution of the bat suit here. Yeah, in fact, it's not, it's some kind of like metal suit now. It's like Batman's pretty much fighting crime in armor now, like military grade armor, much like the Nolan Batman, which is cool. I think that's a good development. I hope they just don't translate that to Superman, but Batman's fine. Batman needs all the armor protection. And again, great Jim Lee cover here. This is a variant for Justice League #1, the Snyder Chung run. And next we have Batman #50. That's just a beautiful cover. Batman, Catwoman in the rain. This is Batman #50, the Jim Lee variant. Love that cover. So again, these are probably the only Jim Lee books the rest are kind of here on the wall. And I guess we'll go with this toward the end, I guess. But yeah, let's kind of go back. This is really the earliest Batman book I have. It's a Bronze Age book. This is the first time Catwoman, there's a solo Catwoman story, a secondary story in Batman. It's the first time Catwoman gets her own solo story in Batman. So it's a key book. You've also got Talia al Ghul in there, and great cover by, I want to say this is Aparo, but great cover there. Next, we've got some more Aparo covers. Batman 340, 341. We've got the first appearance of Killer Croc in Batman 359. And I really hope they bring Killer Croc because I have this book. I really hope they bring him to the big screen. I think a killer. It's kind of like when you have characters like the Lizard in Spider-Man. It just makes sense. Like a CGI Crocodile Man would be uh, cinematic gold. But I don't think Batman's taking that. Batman's much more sort of serious. Uh, like you're dealing mainly with like just psychotic, real life type characters. So I doubt we'll see Killer Croc. Batman 400, great Bill Sienkiewicz cover. Love that cover. And again, probably one of the greatest Batman stories. Year one, man, it was year one good. It's just, and Dave Mazzucchelli's art in this entire 4-issue run is just so classic and noir, and it just totally captures the essence of that early Batman as well. But it's a modern take. Its art style just absolutely ingenious, and I just love how they develop Commissioner Gordon. Commissioner Gordon's not the not that old sort of sits behind the desk and just calls Batman on the phone. Commissioner Gordon in here, he's kind of badass. So great. Just again, one of the best Batman stories. And then we, again, we go through this evolution, and then right around, the early 90s, I should say the mid 90s, maybe. Yeah, I think around the mid 90s, they introduce Batman the Animated Series. And so these comic books are based off that. This is a really crisp, minty copy of the newsstand edition of the mid 90s Batman Beyond key book. So just love that book. Part of my collection. Got some great jock covers here, kind of intermixed. I've covered this cover many a time on my channel. It's just that, again, one of those key moments in Batman history when he goes up against Bane and gets his back broken. Basically, Batman's out of the picture, and they bring this sort of robotic-looking Azrael into the mix, who becomes Batman. They bring this sort of futuristic robot suit Batman, which is fine. I was kind of like, I had moved on from Batman at that point. By the mid 90s, I was pretty much into just X-Men and like Daredevil and Punisher at that point. Let's see here. This isn't Batman, but we can't talk about Batman without talking about Robin. So there have been many Robins over the years. I'm not sure which Robin this is. It's probably not Dick Grayson's Robin, though. I'm thinking it's Tim Drake. This is probably Tim Drake. This is a hot book. They are re-releasing this movie tomorrow in theaters. It's the first Batman movie, animated movie. And that started the whole thing. This is like the first movie based on Batman animated content that did really well in theaters, and it sort of set the stage for more DC animated titles to come to TV. And then now these things are just like Justice League, and you see all these made for DVD movies coming out. They're not necessarily going to the big screen, but they're available on DVD and I guess on the internet. People are sharing them and stuff. So really big movie, and then this is the official adaptation. So this is a hot book. Just glad that I picked it up for $1. That's how I roll. I pick up these things that are super cheap. Now this one is the special die cut variant cover from Batman 500. Joe Quesada did the artwork for this. He's not necessarily known for his cover work, but that's it. Joe Quesada cover. Not that great of a cover. This is a beautiful cover. Mike Mignola. It's in a newsstand edition. Batman Dark Knight. It's a Dark Knight Dark City. I guess this is a Batman 452. This is the part 1 of the 3-issue run of Batman. Key book. Then we got 608, 604, Detective Comics. What's really cool is like 608 is what starts the Batman Hush run, but this is Detective Comics, but it's kind of like the same numbering there. This is the first appearance of Anarchy, and then this is the part 1 of for the Mud Pack. Yeah. Go back and watch my video on my favorite Batman covers, and I go through like the motifs of Batman covers, like the stylistic motif, the artistic motifs of what makes a great Batman cover. And yeah, there's some themes there that you see over and over. But anyway, go watch that. It's an interesting few minutes of video. Batman and Punisher crossover. Look at that John Romita Jr. cover. Beautiful, beautiful cover right there. And who would win that battle, right? I mean, that's an evenly split battle. You know, you got two guys who just, I don't know who did that one, to be honest. They really, Punisher and Batman are like essentially very similar in terms of their motivations and their skill sets. Of course, they're very different characters, but definitely Punisher's a little bit more on the psychotic, just kind of towing the line of actually kind of stepping over the line of what's should be appropriate for a hero. Definitely he's more anti in the anti-hero than anything else. Great villain cover there. Another Mike Mignola. This is the special DC. Someone's got to tell me how much more did these kinds of UPCs make? Because I have an opportunity to buy a Batman book, not a key book, but it has this. I'm just wondering if I should pick it up, because I can pick it up for like $1.25. Very high grade book with this thing on it. Again, I can pick it up for half of cover. I'm just wondering if it's worth doing that, because if it's significantly adds value to the book, I'll go and pick it up. But if it's just going to be like, a couple dollars more off, $3-4 book, it's not going to be worth doing that. There's a lot of speculation around who the villain in the next Matt Reeves Batman's going to be, and there's indication that, and I think I would subscribe to that as well. There's indication, because they released, like, in one of the trailers or whatever, they released the name Hush that was in the background, and I think it's going to be Hush. It's going to be Hush. It makes more sense that it'd be Hush than the Court of Owls. I think Court of Owls could make an appearance if Matt Reeves, because he's slated to do 2 more movies. There's going to be a trilogy. So it makes sense to do yeah, because you kind of want to have the second movie be sort of the best villain in the mix, and then the third is going to also just be a great movie, but third oftentimes won't have the most compelling villains. So yeah, my theory is next movie is going to be Hush. The third movie is going to be the Court of Owls, but we'll just have to see. We'll just play that speculation game. In the meantime, Batman 700, beautiful David Finch cover. That's just a great cover right there. That's and it looks like I've said this before. It just feels like has that Spawn homage feel to it. Batman 21, not such a great cover. Now, I did not know Alfred died. Apparently, Bane kills Alfred in this, which is doesn't make sense to me. Why would you? He's so central to Batman. Why would you go and kill the butler? Just makes no. I mean, it obviously is fuel for. It makes it just I guess a compelling story to kill off a major character. It's going to sell comic books for sure, but just they, how are they going to bring him back? You got to bring Alfred back. It's just that's the weird thing about it. And that's the thing. Batman Returns, Alfred is no longer around. He passes on. So like that narrative is out there that Alfred dies at some point, but still disappointing. This is speaking of Alfred, great Alex Ross Alfred cover. That is just classic. Alfred doesn't appear on that many covers, but just to showcase him like that. Beautiful cover. And then this is the variant cover. This is the original cover. This is Adam Kubert cover. And then we'll go move on to Batman Detective Comics 700. That's a key issue. Yeah. And then another Jock cover here. And another one of my favorite Batman artists, Jason Fabok. Fabok's art just is like gives off the Jim Lee vibes. Fabok is just his style is, I think, so reminiscent of Jim Lee, but it's really it's his own. I mean, there are differences, but I just he's a great artist. That's what I'm kind of trying to say. All right, so those are the Batman books. I guess we can kind of go over again. This is probably these two covers right here. This one and this one are probably my two favorite Batman covers of all time. You could also add that one to the mix and that one to the mix. And those four covers are probably my favorite Batman covers in the collection. We got Batman Year One. This is another great cover. It's really sad. I mean, when you look at it, it's sad. It's really it's depressing, really sad. So is this one a little bit. This is by the great George Perez. The more and more. So when I bought this book when it first came out. And Perez doesn't do the interior in this book. It's actually, I forget who does it. But it's like a cover draw, and then you get disappointed. It's like, wow, this looks really great, and then nothing against the artist who did this, but it's just not George Perez. So that was kind of a disappointment. I remember when reading this, I was just like, yeah, and I don't think I ended up getting the other. I read this one. I think I read the first two and then stopped because it wasn't compelling enough. But yeah, this is a Batman Year 3, first appearance of Tim Drake, and just a great cover there of that cover. What else we got? Oh yeah, this is another hot book right over here. Batman Spawn. That's a hot book right there. Because in about 2 months, actually in 2 months, come December, you're gonna get Batman Spawn. Basically, uh, that was Todd's last DC book back in the 90s. It wasn't even a DC book. It was an Image DC, book. So it's not like he was, but it gave him the opportunity to draw Batman again, right? Gave him the opportunity to draw Batman, and now, fast forward almost 30 years, almost 30 years later, he's back. McFarlane's back drawing Batman. And I think, say what you will about, obviously, us, Todd will always be, Spawn will always be Todd's legacy. Okay. Spawn will always be Todd's legacy. But, if you could have, and this is just, I'm throwing the question out there, so it's not really, it's sort of rhetorical for me, but it's also a serious question for you guys to debate amongst yourselves. If we could tear down all the walls, okay, tear down all the walls and say, okay, McFarlane gets to work on a book, any character, any title, what would you want to see him do? Okay, and there's, again, this question is a little bit loaded in the sense that he's done hundreds of Spawn. Okay, so when I toss that question out there, what would you want to see him do? And you say Spawn, he's already freaking doing Spawn, so that's not the answer. Okay, again, that's his legacy. That's cemented. Can't take that away from Todd. Todd's legacy is Spawn. We all know and accept that. But if there's a secondary, okay, I dare say it's not even Batman for Todd. Okay, he's obviously, it's Spawn, it's Spider-Man, right? But if we could see him work on a run with a writer on any book, it's coming. It's essentially Batman and Spawn. I mean, albeit Spawn is there. Batman and Spawn are together, and it's a crossover. I get it. But Todd will still be penciling Batman along with Spawn, right? And if we could have just a straight up Batman run with Todd, and I don't know, throw any writer in there who's a great writer, or even Todd writing the Batman. Okay, so Todd doing writing and penciling a Batman run. That would be just incredible. I'd love to see it, and that's why I'm so excited about this Batman Spawn, because first of all, let me show you the cover here. Let me get out of Batman. This is something I didn't show off. All of you are aware of the Todd McFarlane Batman cover. What is it? I want to say it's 3. Anyway, the Batman cover where he's the cape work, he's hovering, the girl's clinging to Batman, that famous McFarlane cover. That book is a great cover, okay, but we don't really get to see Batman in in that rendition. And then Batman, he does this 4-part Batman Year 2 in Detective Comics 575. This is 576, part 2 of it. But first off, you got Batman with a gun. God and his guns. His suit shredded. He's got like this big belt buckle. It's a great cover by Todd. Definitely Todd's signature style written all over this cover. Long ears. Okay. Great Batman. And he did the interiors on this book as well. But this was a very young, just starting out in the industry Todd. Okay. And well, we have old man Todd now. Okay. This was young gunslinger Todd. Now we have old man Todd. And so this is not too far removed from this, but definitely better in terms of the Batman there and the Spawn. There's another great cover. You see Batman there, looking very sort of Batman the animation-ish. Okay, this is kind of the preview we're getting of the next Batman Spawn crossover. Now, okay, so Todd's working with Greg Capullo, so I think it's going to be Capullo's doing the interior work. I don't know if McFarlane might ink. We'll have to see, but it's probably going to be Capullo and how they did it on Spawn all those years ago. So Capullo doing the penciling, McFarlane doing the inks, McFarlane writing, and that's pretty much what we're getting. So it's not completely Todd in that sense, but what you're gonna see is probably a series of Todd McFarlane Todd McFarlane limited edition variant covers where he's going to draw Batman, where he's going to draw Spawn and Batman either fighting or anyway, we don't know what to expect, but Todd Batman will be in the mix. Okay. And that's what we're really waiting for. We're waiting for the book, but we're waiting for and we want the Capullo cover. But for me, there's gonna be a gajillion covers out there. Everyone's gonna be doing their version of the Batman Spawn. I can just see a plethora of. This is probably gonna be the most, the most covered issue of Batman Spawn in the history of comics. The most variant cover. If there's a record for most variant covers, I think this Batman Spawn is going to try to set the record. But which makes me so hyped about it. Just that fact alone, the fact that this is just really bringing everybody who loves comics to the table. This is why we love comics, right? These kinds of events, these kinds of books, right? These once in a career, once in a lifetime type comeback stories. And so we're getting the Todd McFarlane variant covers, we're getting the Jim Lee variant covers, and we're getting the original Capullo cover. So however many books that ends up being, we're going to target that. If we can get a Peach Momoko book, would be nice, but I know Peach is just doing Marvel stuff right now, so the likelihood of her doing, uh, unless someone commissions her outside of that, the odds of a Peach Momoko Batman book coming out would be very rare, but maybe we'll see it. Uh, and I'm just excited to see who else, Art Churn, David Nakayama, John Boy Myers, all these great cover artists right now in the game doing their thing on this Spawn Batman. It's going to be, I look at the smile on my face, like you can't fake excitement like that. It's going to be amazing. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to pause the video, and then when we come back, we're going to read or just kind of, I guess, flip through first appearance of Batman. So we'll be right back. Okay, so this is a free comic book. I believe this came out on Batman Day as well. Maybe it came out on Free Comic Book Day, but whenever it came out, it's a great book. You've got the original. It's a reprint of Detective Comics 27 again, but with a lot of added sort of artwork and features here, and an amazing Greg Capullo cover on this cover. So let's just kind of flip through it, look through it together. And what you'll see is, just a reprinting of the original first appearance of Batman. So Batman. This now, mind you, this does not go over the origin of Batman. We get the origin of Batman actually in Batman. Okay, but there he is. Boom. Original Batman there. And I'm reading this upside down, so if there's anything interesting here, I'll try to read it. The Batman. As the two men leer over their conquest, they do not notice a third menacing figure standing behind them. It's the Batman. The Batman. Yeah. Look at that. Watch for a new thrilling Batman story. And then, we get into another sort of more, I love when they do this. So, kind of like the classic X-Men, they kind of reprint the original and then they add more context to the story. So this is connected to that, just adding more context on sort of a modern take on that original story. Pretty cool. That reprint's really short. Now they just reprinted. Look at that, Jim. Oh, man, that's a beautiful cover. So where was I? Yeah, they just reprinted Batman. Detective Comics 27. Or no, sorry. They reprinted Batman 1. No. They reprinted DC Comics 27. And we could have picked it up at Mill Geek a few weeks ago. But it was like $8 for that. It's a reprint, right? It's a full reprint. And so I don't know. I just kind of passed on it. If there's another opportunity to pick it up, like for $1 or cheaper or something, I'll do that. But yeah, I mean, that's everybody went out and got that book because it's just such a key book to have. Look at this great Bob Kane. Bob Kane. The nice thing about this book here is that, in fact, so you'll notice here in the original, let me flip this over again, or flip this through again. Notice here in the original, it's just Batman by Bob Kane. But here in the corner here, written by writer Bill Finger, pencils and inks by Bob Kane. So they give Bill Finger his due on the book. They're giving, you know, in all the Batman movies now, you'll see Bill Finger get the just due as a creator of Batman. Bill Finger who created this story. So, but yeah, look at that beautiful Bob Kane art. That's just a classic. There's some classic panels there from again, Batman Detective Comics number 27. So again, happy Batman Day. Hope everybody's enjoying Batman, and I hope everybody enjoys Batman, and yeah, I guess we'll see you in the next video. But happy Batman Day. Go out and get some Batman comics, and let me know in the comments what you thought of this video, what your thoughts about Batman are. What was your first Batman book? You remember what your first, or maybe it was watching the animated series. What was your favorite episode or first memory of your engagement with Bruce Wayne? Let me know in the comments, and see you back in the next one. Thanks for watching. Otaku out.